I got a question today about the plastic inner sleeves on this tripod that hold the legs together. So I wanted to show those and explain my thoughts about them. I still haven't had this tripod for too long, so I can't speak to their longevity. But Benro does have the 7-year warranty, so I'm sure if there was any issues with these parts, they'd be able to send a replacement quickly. And if not within the warranty, even after those 7 years, I'm sure they'd be an inexpensive part to replace. But the part that was in question, as you extend the legs, there's a little sleeve inside that causes it to stop when it's fully extended like this. And over time they can wear down or break. So I was just going to show a little bit how they're constructed and how they kind of come in and out, and the maintenance of the tripod if you have to get in there and clean it. So first off, you only have to unscrew this about a quarter turn in order to get movement in the legs. But in order to take the whole tripod leg apart, there's actually quite a bit of threading. So I've threaded it several times and it still locks in place. So you have to go quite far. You see there's quite a bit of threading. And then when you do slide it off, there's these plastic sleeves. They're kind of a U shape. And there's this little notch that fits into the carbon fiber of the tripod leg. So there's these little slots here that this piece rests in. And I've seen other designs where they're actually kind of covered on top, but then they can break on this area. The advantage to these is there's very little that can break. They're flexible, so you'd have to take it out and then purposefully try to break it. This little square that holds in the sleeve to the tripod leg is built in to the U-shaped piece and would be very hard to break off. You'd have to really yank on the leg, and you might even have a problem with the carbon fiber before you had a problem with this piece. The nice thing about this is it's very simple in design. If you got a bunch of salt water or a bunch of dirt in the tripod and you wanted to clean it out, it's very easy to take apart, and there's very little moving parts, and something like this is really easy to just rinse off and then put back in. So I'll show you how to put it back together here. From what I can tell, there's not a difference between the sides. One might be slightly thicker than the other. So I think this side might be thicker than this side. So I'm going to put this one up so it feeds in better. It just rests in place and then doesn't slide around. And then on this other side, just like that, you kind of hold it together, and then you'll just slide it right back in. This part can be kind of tricky. If you don't get it aligned just right, it may not want to slide in perfectly, but then there it goes. You slide it partially in, you bring the rubber part back up, and then just thread it on. And so even I've just threaded on partially, and then we're back to functioning to where it's going to keep it from falling out. And even threaded partially on it, those plastic sleeves aren't going to slip out and cause the whole leg to come undone. Theoretically though, I'm just going to do a theoretical exercise. If these sleeves broke, or somehow you lost them or forgot to put them back in after cleaning, the tripod is actually still functional in the sense that you can tighten this down. So once you get it threaded in, you can adjust it to where you need it to be, and then when you lock this down, it actually still holds the leg in place. The only downside to not having these sleeves is then the leg can slide right out. And so those sleeves definitely do serve a role in keeping the leg from sliding out. But if one broke and you needed to use the tripod while the replacement was on the way, it's still usable. You just have to be careful not to completely pull it out. But in my opinion, with this design, there's very little that could go wrong. It'd be very rare to have them break. And I think you'd have to damage the tripod pretty heavily by yanking too hard. And again, you might even have a problem with the carbon fiber or another piece before these had any issue. They're flexible, so even if you stepped on it, it probably wouldn't crack. So it's a very well thought out design. It's the best that I've used. However, it is plastic. It probably is prone to failure. And so keep in mind that over years of use, you may want to check on them. If there is cracking that's starting to form, just contact Benro. They'll get you some replacements. And if it's within their 7-year warranty, I'm sure they'd just send them out no problem. But I like the simpleness of it. It's very easy to clean, and again, very hard to mess up. Even if you unscrew this a lot further than needed, you aren't going to have a tripod leg come out. So hopefully that answers the question and is useful information for anyone else looking into this tripod. If you have any more questions or want to see something else about it, just leave a comment and I'll make another video.